Raymond Neil Ray Coombs, Jr. was an American comedian, actor, and game show host. Coombs began his professional career as a stand-up comedian in the 1980s. His popularity on the stand-up circuit led to him being signed as the host of the revival of the game show Family Feud. The show aired on CBS and was in syndication until 1994. From 1995 to 1996, Coombs hosted another game show, Family Challenge. Beset with marital and financial problems, Coombs hanged himself in the closet of the psychiatric ward of Glendale Adventist Medical Center where he was being held for observation in June 1996. Early life: Coombs was born in Hamilton, Ohio. He graduated from Garfield High School in 1974, where he was an actor, senior class president, and boys state delegate. Coombs declined a nomination to the United States Military Academy to serve as a Mormon missionary for 2 years in Arizona. Career: Coombs began performing comedy at Cincinnati's Red Dog Saloon, where he developed his best-known shtick of audience sing-alongs of sitcom theme songs. In 1979, Coombs sent a letter to David Letterman asking for advice. The comedian encouraged him to continue in comedy. In 1982, convinced that he was better than others he saw appear on The Tonight Show, Coombs quit his job as an Indianapolis furniture salesman and moved with his family to Los Angeles. He did well in a competition with more than 200 young comedians, and began doing audience warm-ups for sitcoms such as The Golden Girls and Amen. Coombs became so popular that other sitcoms changed their production schedules just so they could get him to warm up their audiences. Johnny Carson heard the audience's laughter and then invited Coombs to perform on The Tonight Show in October 1986. The audience gave the comedian a standing ovation. In 1987, he appeared as a celebrity panelist on the John Davidson version of Hollywood Squares, and had a small role in the comedy film Overboard starring Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. In 1985, he appeared on an episode of The Facts of Life as a background character. Around this time he also guest-starred on an episode of The Golden Girls. Family Feud. In 1988, game show producers Mark Goodson and Howard Felcher gave Coombs a 7-year contract to host a new version of Family Feud. The program premiered July 4, 1988 on CBS's daytime lineup, and a syndicated version was launched 2 months later, on September 19. According to Feud announcer Gene Wood, Coombs also toured extensively around the United States to promote the show and made guest appearances on Card Sharks and The Price is Right to discuss the new version of Family Feud. On June 29, 1992, CBS expanded the daytime show from 30 minutes to 1 hour. A new Bullseye round was added and the show was retitled Family Feud Challenge. On September 14, 1992, the Bullseye round was integrated into the syndicated run, which remained 30 minutes in length, but was renamed as the new Family Feud. Coombs was one of the most seen MCs on television during the 1992-93 season, with an hour and a half of Family Feud airing 5 days a week. Midway through the 1992-93 season, ratings for the show began to plummet. CBS canceled the daytime version in early 1993 and ended on March 26 as many CBS affiliates had dropped the show entirely by that time. The syndicated version was also in danger of cancellation. Jonathan Goodson, who became chairman of Mark Goodson Productions after the death of his father, Mark Goodson, a year earlier, made the decision to replace Coombs with original host Richard Dawson in the hopes of spiking ratings. By all accounts, Coombs was hurt by his dismissal from the show. His final episode was taped sometime in February 1994 and aired in first-run syndication on May 27 of that year. While his final episode of Family Feud seemed like any other, during his final Fast Money bonus round, the 5 answers given by the second contestant each netted 0 points. Coombs joked, "You know, I've done this show for 6 years and this is the first time I had a person that actually got no points, and I think it's a damn fine way to go out. Thought I was a loser until you walked up here, you made me feel like a man." After signing off, with ending credits rolling, Coombs immediately walked off the set, went to his dressing room to get changed, left the CBS television city facility without saying goodbye to anyone, got into his car and drove home. Other appearances. Coombs also made an appearance for the World Wrestling Federation as a guest ring announcer at WrestleMania 8, where he amused the capacity crowd at Indianapolis Hoosier Dome by lashing into the team of the Nasty Boys, the Mountie, and Repo Man with various scathing insults before being ultimately chased out of the ring. He later served as a guest commentator alongside Vince McMahon and Bobby Heenan at Survivor Series 1993 in a match between the Hart family and Shawn Michaels and his Knights. These two appearances were also met with various WWF/WBF celebrity editions of Family Feud. Heenan and Coombs also struck up a friendship, which Heenan recounted in his autobiography, noting that he believed Coombs felt demeaned by being a game show host. Coombs also portrayed himself in episodes of In Living Color and 227 in Family Feud sketches and made an appearance on the TNN television series The Statler Brothers Show, where he did a stand-up comedy routine. In October 1993, a Family Feud video game was released for the Super Nintendo console. In July 1994, the game would be released for Sega Genesis, with the in-game host in both versions resembling Coombs. Decline. In July 1994, Coombs injured his spinal disc in a car accident which left him in permanent pain. He also went through financial problems after two of his comedy clubs failed and his home in Hamilton, Ohio, went into foreclosure. In September 1995, Coombs and Debbie, his wife of 18 years, separated. The couple reconciled but later refiled for divorce. Coombs made several attempts to revive his television career, including taping a pilot for a talk show called The Ray Coombs Show, which ultimately was not picked up. He also hosted Family Challenge from 1995 to 1996 on the Family Channel. Coombs also made a number of appearances on the Game Show Network. Approximately 1 week prior to his death, Coombs appeared on television for the last time, live on a Memorial Day edition of the Home and Family Show with Christina Ferrer and Chuck Woolery on May 27, 1996, where he talked about his experiences while hosting Family Challenge. Death. On June 1, 1996, police were called to Coombs' home at 1318 Sonora Avenue in Glendale, California over reports of a disturbance. Coombs had reportedly destroyed the inside of his home and had also been banging his head against the walls. Shortly after police arrived, Coombs' estranged wife Debbie arrived and informed police that Coombs was suicidal and had spent the previous week in the hospital for a suicide attempt. He was involuntarily admitted to the psychiatric ward of Glendale Adventist Medical Center in Glendale by the police and placed on a 72-hour mental observation hold. Early the next morning, Coombs fashioned a noose from his hospital sheets and hanged himself in a closet. Coombs' funeral was held on June 7 at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Glendale. His body and casket was flown back to his hometown of Hamilton, Ohio, where he was interred in Greenwood Cemetery in his native Hamilton, Ohio. Coombs was survived by his parents, Ray, Essa and Anita Jean Coombs, his wife Debbie and their 6 children. Unbeknownst to Coombs' widow, Debbie, he was deeply in debt at the time of his death. At the height of his career, Coombs was earning close to $1 million per year but reportedly had difficulty managing his money. In addition to his 2 failed comedy clubs in Hamilton, Coombs owed $100,000 in back taxes, $150,000 in loans and credit cards, and had a $470,000 mortgage. The bank foreclosed on the family's Glendale home and Debbie was forced to sell off some of her husband's autographed photos and celebrity caricatures. A benefit was held at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood which netted $10,000 for the family. Johnny Carson, who had given Coombs his first break in show business, sent Debbie a check for $25,000, writing her "I hope this will ease the burden." Filmography. References. External links. Ray Coombs at the Internet Movie Database, Ray Coombs at Find a Grave.